Hey friends, welcome back. So we've got to talk about Elon Musk and his very, very bad day. That's the subject of today's video. The stock is crashing at the moment. You're watching it live. The greatest destruction of wealth in world history, with Elon Musk going up in flames. This is where we are. On the month, you're down at what, 23%? On the day, I think it's like 7 or 8% down. Oh, geez, now 8%, approaching 9% down. This is live. Will this thing go under 300? I think there's a high chance of that. It was what, 299 earlier or something. Yeah, it was. I think it's heading down. But effectively, Tesla stock is grossly overvalued. And the news came out today that sales in Europe absolutely plummeted, like down 45%. We got to get this thing all the way down, guys. Will Tesla stock hit zero? That's what we're watching. This is a major destruction of wealth. Like I said, the biggest in world history. What's going to end up happening as Tesla stock keeps crashing, you're going to see Elon Musk keep crying. That's what he's up to today. It's pretty funny. He actually knew that Tesla was tanking, right? He saw the future. And started to get into politics because basically his plan is to buy the government off and to try to live off your tax dollars, get subsidized by government subsidies, these kind of things. Him and Trump want to tariffs on you, basically tax you, to then funnel that money into their sovereign wealth fund and then take that money and make it, so he can go to Mars, save his car company, whatever. But that's not necessarily the greatest plan, because I think we're onto it. We can see what you're doing, Elon. And essentially what he's doing now is you have to think of Elon as being like a third grader. And when you're in third grade, like Elon's mentality, he effectively, taking this note, writing, "Do you like me?" Click click box for yes, click box for no. You hand it to the person that you like, and they completely ignore you, right? And then you're like, "Well, I'm gonna try again." So give it to Elon. He's trying again. You've got a second chance to answer his, third grade email. This is Elon. This is what he writes today. He says, "Subject to the discretion of the president, they will be given another chance." Wow, Elon's giving you another chance. A failure to respond a second time will result in termination. So he threatened to fire you the first time you didn't respond, and now he's giving you a second chance, is what he says. Donald Trump was talking about this yesterday, backing him up, saying, "Oh yeah, we sent out the email. Maybe we're paying dead people." That's what Trump suggested. Trump was saying we should fire people, maybe semi-fire people. Who are these people? It really is a clown show. And then you have to listen to the language of the Elon bubble. So Elon was interacting with this count, Matt Walsh. I don't know who that is. If you guys know, you can let me know. But Matt Walsh, the person who Elon was interacting with, was saying here, "Fire any federal worker who didn't answer the email. Fire any who complained publicly about the email. Fire any who complained privately about the email. Fire any who did anything but cheerfully and promptly answer it." So, so these people, when Elon sent the email, right, in their bubble, they expect you to like cheerfully and promptly answer any communication from Elon, because I guess we should all be blessed with Elon's email. That's from their language. How did Elon sycophants respond? Here's some people. This graph says, "Imagine how many people didn't answer the first email if we're given then another chance. I think it's because almost no one responded." Okay. Hey, Elon, where's your fans? Okay, that doesn't sound like a fan. How about this one? "Took me less than 2 minutes to write it down 5 things I did for work last week, and I didn't need to think beyond Monday." All right. Well, Chris is a fan. "You have no authority to do that." Wow. Oh, count from muted. Yeah, I do mute some counts in this thing because I'll just say this. There's so many trolls and bots in this thing. What's this person? "Outsource these jobs. A private company can provide whatever services these entitled employees are doing. I bet for a better price. They hire and retain employees based on merit." How crazy this stuff is, guys? Like, this whole Elon thing, I mean, his plan is, and I guess from Elon's point of view is, if you go with this, hire H-1B foreign workers to come in and replace the Americans. Because from Elon's point of view, hey, I'm going to save a buck, try to save the government, save my stock. But it goes counter to what Trump's been saying all along, is I'm going to bring you jobs and make America great again. Elon's like, "I'm going to fire everyone." And then Trump's like, "Oh, well, I'll do what Elon says because he's giving me money." Does this whole thing like bizarre? He's kinder than I would be. What is this vampire stuff? Should meet Elon Musk. Who writes this stuff? So I guess they're trying to say that, oh, is Elon Musk the kryptonite of mainstream media? Is that they're trying to say, okay, okay, yeah, that's smart. Pick and choose your battles wisely. This is his platform, guys. As I said, it's like a third grader. This one's making a joke here that dead people are receiving Elon's mail because they're suggesting if you don't respond to Elon's mail, then they're going to consider you dead and therefore fired. What is these people up to? Um, and I got to go over the Tesla stock situation. So, okay, let me explain in the simplest terms. Elon Musk's wealth is based on Tesla stock. Okay, he's got a bunch of Tesla stock. They don't pay him a salary, and or he'll brag about, hey, I don't get a salary from the government, blah blah blah, right? And it's like, oh, I just do this stuff out of the kindness of my heart. Well, let's talk about these two things. So first is when you don't take a salary from Tesla, that makes it so that you don't have to pay taxes, right? There's no income tax because you have no income. However, you do get a bunch of Tesla stock options. So his wealth is based on the stock. And then what he does is he takes loans and lines of credit based on the said stock. And that's how he funds his pursuit. So many people don't know this. He had to borrow money to buy Twitter. And then there was a whole fiasco of that because banks took big losses on that thing. And and there are all these reports that it was like the worst deal since the great financial crisis. It was pretty bad. And then we're recently selling off the debt, which is kind of interesting. We don't know exactly who's buying it. There were some reports of some, and other reports that we're just not sure. And then we do know foreign money is in Twitter, talking about the Twitter thing, be it Saudi money, Russian money, etc. Even that Puff Daddy dude, he put money in this thing, that the Diddy guy. On top of that, with the Twitter thing, Elon was trying to raise more money to keep Twitter afloat, which is kind of an interesting thing because some people think that, and you'll see this because he has this army of sort of influencer sycophants to pump him up. But some people think Elon is rich enough to buy countries, which we've actually seen like, oh yeah, he can, more value than Russia or more than Spain, which he talked about in prior videos. It's so ridiculous. But essentially, if you don't understand how Elon Musk's worth, then you fall for these tricks, right? What Elon Musk or Donald Trump do, these are the kind of people that inflate their wealth. They inflate their income, this stuff. And something like Elon is interesting because when he was hired into the government, because we actually weren't sure if he was going to be an employee of the government or not. Later, we figured out that he is an employee. We don't know exactly where. I think the last statement was employee of the White House, which is kind of strange, or advisor, how they called it. And they were trying to move his position around because they're trying to avoid lawsuits. Like this whole thing is shady. The whole thing is shady, right? And the reason why the classification became important is that, generally speaking, when you become a position that, say, in the White House or Elon's position, people, want your financial disclosures, and they're trying to figure out ways to skirt that, right? And so it's actually quite interesting. In Elon's situation is how much cash does he actually have on hand? Now, if this Tesla stock crashes, like, which I think it's going to, and he's over leveraged, meaning he has a bunch of lines of credit, etc., he may be getting some phone calls. Mr. Margin may be calling saying, hey, your assets have crashed. Please, ante up. We need some cash infusion. And so that's why you'll see all these sort of desperate moves from Elon to keep it propped up. The problem with Tesla is that he's lost much of his talent over there. People saw what was going on, right? And they're like, you know what? This is the top. I'm selling my stock. I'm getting out of the company. Elon's going crazy. And Elon's kind of on his own right now. He tried to take charge of designing the Tesla Cybertruck, which is an absolute disaster, as you guys know. And then the recent stuff they're trying to claim is that they got these robotaxis coming and these humanoid robots coming, which is pretty ridiculous. The humanoid robots, the idea is they're going to replace humans, but then what are the humans going to do? Plus, the robots don't really work that well anyway, and they're never going to come in at cost that even makes sense. The thing with Tesla is like they're supported by all these fanboys that don't really know much about anything. They're just a bunch of high school dropouts, college dropouts, like really low educated people pump up Tesla. It's actually quite laughable. And I'll give you an example. So if you think these, robots come in at 30, 40,000 or even 100,000, whatever the stupid price is, it's still going to cost more than paying a worker in a factory, say like in Vietnam or China, where you can pay a worker, say 5,000 a year. It's something in that nature. And so it's like, do you really think a company's going to buy, who knows how many robots it costs? We'll say 100,000. Are they going to pay $100,000 on a robot when you could just pay someone in other countries, 5,000, maybe even 10,000, right? A year? No, of course you're not going to buy these stupid robots. You're still better off going to buy humans. But Elon, he can sell you this fantasy dreams that his robots are going to work, etc. And then the taxi situation. So he's trying to convince you that we're going to replace everyone's job in the taxis and the Ubers and all that stuff. And you're all going to drive Teslas and his robotaxis, and it's going to be cheaper than a bus. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And so that's his plans to save the company. And then on top of that, he gets involved in politics and all around the world, and people are just rejecting his brand. And so they're not buying this stuff. The stock is crashing, and this is what we're witnessing. We're witnessing the largest crash in history. And it's actually quite fascinating because to see how long that you can pump this stuff up, right? It's effectively a Ponzi and a pyramid. And on top of that, a lot of people don't know this, Tesla and Bitcoin started around the same time, right after the great financial crisis. And Bitcoin is down as well. Both these things are grossly, grossly, grossly overvalued. You could argue which is more overvalued, Tesla, the car company, Bitcoin. That's a tough one, all right? It's a tough one. These kind of assets, be it Bitcoin or Tesla, they're all based on I'm buying it because I think someone else will buy it at a higher price. You could call this the greater fool theory. I'm a fool for buying something like a Bitcoin or a Tesla stock. I'm a total fool. But if I can find a bigger fool than me, a bigger fool to sell it to, then yes, I can make money. However, it's catching up to you guys, right? And you may or may not know this, but people who buy into Tesla or Bitcoin, they're often leveraged. They borrow money to do these things. So on the upside, right, and everyone's borrowing money to buy the stuff, yeah, it can go up very, very quickly. But it can also go down very, very quickly. And in fact, it'll go down faster than it goes up. And so that's the kind of stuff that you're seeing today. The collapse of Tesla sales, the collapse of Elon. He's saying, hey, you get a second chance to answer his email. But I think people are just going to laugh him off again. And it becomes a total clown show. And this, again, is the largest destruction of wealth in history. And we're watching it live. So keep an eye on this one. We'll see what happens. And I'll catch you on the next video.